The last thing I expected to see in a mall on a Sunday was the face of the man who shattered my life 7 years ago. But fate, it seems, had other plans and decided to throw me a meeting with the devil himself. My name is Amanda Collins, and my story doesn't start with a happy ending. It begins with raw, gut-wrenching betrayal. But let's take it step by step. That day, the one that changed everything, started like any ordinary Saturday. I was standing in line at the mall's cafeteria with my 6-year-old twins, Maya and Sophie. The girls were bickering over which ice cream was better, strawberry or chocolate. Their laughter filled my heart with warmth, as it always did. "Mom, can we get 2 scoops?" Maya asked in her pleading voice, wrapping her arms around my leg. "Of course, sweetheart," I said, smiling as I ruffled her chestnut curls. And that's when I saw him. Christopher Hands, my ex-husband, the man who ran when he found out I was pregnant with twins. He was standing by a jewelry store window, dressed in an expensive suit, hair perfectly styled, eyeing some rings. Next to him was a young blonde in a red dress, barely 20-5. My heart stopped. Time slowed. The mall's noise faded into a dull hum. He felt my stare and turned. Our eyes locked through the crowd of shoppers. His face went pale, like he'd seen a ghost. Then his gaze dropped to the girls, my girls, his daughters whose existence he didn't even know about. Maya and Sophie kept laughing, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. Christopher started walking toward us, leaving his companion confused by the jewelry counter. "Amanda?" His voice trembled. "Christopher." The word fell from my lips like a stone into an abyss. "Are those your kids?" I hugged the girls tighter. "These are my daughters, Maya and Sophie." He stared at them transfixed, and no wonder they were the spitting image of him as a child. Same green eyes, same stubborn chin, same mole on their left cheek. "How old are they?" he whispered. 6. I watched him do the math in his head, watched the realization hit him like a tidal wave. "Oh God. Amanda, Mom, who's this man?" Sophie tugged at my sleeve, eyeing the stranger curiously. I hesitated. "I'm an old friend of your mom's," Christopher said quickly, crouching down. "What are your names, beautiful?" "I'm Maya, and this is my sister Sophie," Maya announced cheerfully. "Did you know Mom when she was little?" Christopher smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Not quite. We met when your mom was already grown up." "Do you have kids?" Sophie asked. The silence hung like an axe in the air. "No," Christopher said softly. "I don't have kids." Something inside me snapped. "Girls, go to the fountain and look at the fish." "Don't go far," I said, handing them some coins. "And don't talk to strangers." Once they ran off, I turned to Christopher. "You have the nerve to tell them you don't have kids? They're your kids, Christopher." "I didn't know." He grabbed my arm. "I swear, Amanda, I didn't know." "Of course you didn't," I yanked free, "because you ran like a coward when I told you I was pregnant." "It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that." I raised my voice, ignoring the passers-by turning to stare. "You said you weren't ready for a kid, that your career was more important, that I should deal with it." Christopher's face flushed. "Amanda, please, let's talk calmly." "Calmly?" I laughed hysterically. 7 years, Christopher. 7 years I raised them alone. Sleepless nights, illnesses, first steps, first words. It was all me. Where were you building your career? You thought I'd get rid of them like trash. But you know what? They're the greatest gift I've ever gotten. They're the best thing in my life. Amanda, I want to make it right." "Make what right, Christopher?" I stepped closer. "The fact that you abandoned us? Or the fact that you know about them now?" He opened his mouth, but I didn't let him speak. "And who's the girl in the red dress? Your new wife? Or just another fling you'll ditch when she gets pregnant?" "That's Jessica. We're engaged." "Oh, engaged," I clapped mockingly. "Does she know you have kids?" "She doesn't know because I didn't know. Now you do. So what's next?" Christopher ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I knew all too well. "I want to be part of their lives." "No." "What?" I said no. "You don't get to be part of their lives. Amanda, they're my daughters. They're my daughters." I jabbed a finger at my chest. You're just a sperm donor. You don't become a father at conception. You earn it every day. When you're up at 3 a.m. with a crying baby. When you're in the hospital all night. When you work 3 jobs to feed your family. Amanda, please. Please. I felt tears prick my throat but held them back. Where was your please? When I was sobbing in an empty apartment. Pregnant and alone. With no idea how I'd raise 2 kids. The blonde in the red dress approached us. Chris, honey, what's going on? She gave me an appraising look. Jessica, it's complicated, Christopher muttered. I'll make it simple, I cut in. I'm Amanda, Christopher's ex-wife. Those 2 girls at the fountain are his daughters, who he just found out about. Jessica's face went white as a sheet. What? Chris, you said you didn't have kids. Jess, I didn't know. Didn't know? Her voice rose. How do you not know you have kids? Because he ran when he found out I was pregnant, I said with a cold smile. Apparently your fiancé has a habit of disappearing when responsibility comes knocking. Chris, is this true? Jessica stared at him in horror. Jess, let me explain. Yes or no, Chris? Did you abandon your pregnant wife? His silence spoke louder than words. Oh God, Jessica said, slipping off her engagement ring. I can't be with someone who'd do that. Jess, wait! But she was already running off, not looking back. You ruined my life! Christopher turned to me, furious. I ruined it? I laughed. You ruined your life 7 years ago, Chris. I just told the truth. I have rights to those kids. What rights? I stepped closer. You signed away your parental rights, remember? I came to your office when the girls were 2 months old, begging for financial help. You made me sign papers saying you were never their father. Christopher paled. I was young, stupid. And I was a young pregnant woman with 2 babies to raise. That didn't stop me from stepping up. Mom, Maya ran up to me. We saw a goldfish. It grants wishes. Really, sweetheart? I lifted her into my arms, kissing her cheek. What did you wish for? It's a secret, she giggled. But it's about a daddy. My heart clenched. Christopher heard it, and his face twisted in pain. Do the girls ask about their father often? He asked quietly. Every day, I said, not looking at him, especially at school when everyone else has a dad. I tell them their dad's a hero who flew to the sky to protect other kids. You told them I was dead? I told them what helps them sleep at night, not the truth, that their father's a selfish coward. Christopher clenched his fists. I've changed, Amanda. I want to be their father. Too late. Give me a chance. No, I shouted so loudly that Maya flinched. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I said, stroking her hair. Mommy's just tired, I turned to Christopher. You want to know who I became without you? I own a chain of beauty salons, 6 locations across the state. I earn 10 times what you made when we were married. And you know why? Because I had to feed 3 people, myself and 2 kids. Amanda. I built an empire from nothing. Worked 18-hour days while the girls slept, learned business management from online videos, took loans from loan sharks to open my first salon. My voice shook with emotion. That first year, I slept 3 hours a night, worked all day, studied all night, took the kids to doctors on weekends. I didn't have a single day off for 7 years. I didn't ask you to be a hero. And I didn't ask you to be a father, I exploded, but you became one, and that comes with responsibility. But you chose to run. Sophie approached, ice cream in hand. Mom, why are you yelling at the man? I knelt down, cupping her face. Sorry, sunshine. Mommy and the man were just talking about grown-up stuff. Is the man crying? She pointed at Christopher. I turned. Tears were streaming down his face. He's just upset, I said, unsure what else to say. Don't cry, mister, Sophie said, walking over and offering her ice cream. Ice cream always helps when you're sad. Christopher dropped to his knees and took the cone with trembling hands. Thank you, Princess. Did you really know Mommy a long time ago? Maya asked. Yes, he nodded. A very long time ago, when she was young and beautiful. Is Mommy not beautiful now? Sophie asked, surprised. No, Christopher said quickly. She's even more beautiful now. So much more. He looked at me, and something in his eyes made my heart skip a beat. Regret, longing, love. Girls, it's time to go home, I said, taking their hands. Amanda, wait, Christopher stood. Can I give you my number? Just in case. No, please. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but they're my daughters. I just want to know they're okay. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to hurt him like he'd hurt me, but another part saw how the girls looked at him with curiosity. One condition, I said finally. Anything. If you want to be in their lives, you're in all the way, not just weekends when it's convenient, not just holidays. You'll go to parent-teacher meetings, sit with them when they're sick, help with homework. Yes, of course. I'm not done, I interrupted. You'll be honest with them. You'll tell them why you weren't there all these years. You won't blame me. You'll tell the truth, that you got scared and ran. Christopher nodded. And one last thing. If you disappear again, if you hurt them, I'll destroy you. I have the resources and connections now. I'll ruin your career, your reputation, your life. Understood? Understood. I pulled a business card from my purse. This is my work number. Call me tomorrow at 2 p.m. We'll discuss how this works. Thank you, Amanda. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for them. We walked to the exit. The girls chattered about fish and ice cream, while I wondered how our lives were about to change. Mom, Maya said suddenly, is that man nice? I glanced back. Christopher was still standing where we left him, watching us go. I don't know, sweetheart. We'll find out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying that awful day 7 years ago when Christopher walked out, slamming the door. I was 4 months pregnant with twins, battling morning sickness day and night, barely able to work. I'm not ready for a kid, Amanda, he'd said. I'm 26. I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't want some accident ruining it. Accident, I'd echoed. You're calling our children an accident? We didn't plan for kids. We talked about this. Career first, kids later. But they're already here, Chris, inside me. There are ways to fix that. I'll never forget the look on his face. Cold, calculating, unfamiliar. Fix it? You're talking about killing our children? Don't be dramatic. It's just a medical procedure. Get out, Amanda. Get out and never come back. He left. And he didn't come back for 7 years, but I survived. More than that, I thrived, After the divorce, I moved in with my sister Rachel. She helped with the kids while I worked. I got a job as a salon receptionist. The pay was laughable, but I needed any income. Maya and Sophie were born premature. 2 months in the NICU, endless hospital bills, loans with insane interest rates. But I didn't give up. At night, while the girls slept, I studied business basics, read books on marketing, management, economics, learned manicures and pedicures from YouTube tutorials. 2 years later, I knew I could do better than my boss. I took one last loan and opened a tiny salon in a residential basement. 10 square meters, 2 chairs, me and my assistant Carla, but I had a dream. And an iron will, That first year was hell. Barely any clients. I worked dawn to dusk, doing cheap manicures just to make ends meet. The girls spent days with Rachel or at a low-cost daycare. Then luck struck. One client was a local businessman's wife. She loved my work and told her friends, who told their friends. Within a year, I had 5 regular stylists and a month-long wait list. The next year, I opened a second salon, then a third. Now, I have 6 salons, 70 employees, and $1 million annual turnover. I buy the girls everything they want. We have a beautiful suburban home, a garden, a pool. And I did it all myself. Without a husband, without Christopher. The next day, at exactly 2 p.m., my phone rang. Amanda's Beauty Salon, how can I help you? Amanda, it's Christopher. I know, talk fast. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. I thought about our talk all night, about the girls, about what I've lost. And I want to fix my mistakes. I want to be a real father. Wanting and doing are different things, Christopher. Give me a chance to prove it. I paused, thinking. Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Park, playground. Come alone. The girls will play and we'll talk. Thank you, Amanda. Goodbye, Christopher. I hung up and leaned back in my chair. My assistant Lisa poked her head in. "Everything okay, boss?" "Yeah, just ghosts from the past showing up." On Saturday, I arrived at the park early to mentally prepare. The girls played happily on the swings while I watched, wondering how our lives would change. Doc Christopher showed up right at 3, wearing jeans and a simple white shirt. He looked nervous, lost. "Hey," he said, sitting on the bench beside me. "Hey." We watched the girls play in silence. "They're beautiful," he said finally. "Yeah. Who do they look like more?" "You, unfortunately." He gave a pained smile. "Amanda, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I was a jerk, but I want to change everything." "Why?" I turned to him. "Why now?" "Because yesterday, when I saw them, something clicked. I realized I've been running from responsibility my whole life, from closeness, from love. And what's changed? I've grown up. I'm 33, Amanda. I'm tired of being selfish. And Jessica? What about her? She was right to leave me. I didn't deserve her love or yours." Maya ran over, breathless and flushed. "Mom, can Mr. Christopher play with us?" I looked at him questioningly. "If Mom says it's okay," he replied. "Fine, but stay where I can see you." For the next hour, I watched Christopher play with the girls. He pushed them on swings, played hide and seek, helped build a sandcastle. And the girls, they glowed with joy. "Mr. Christopher, do you have kids?" Sophie asked as they rested on a bench dot. Christopher looked at me. I nodded. "You know what, Princess? I do. I have the 2 most beautiful daughters in the world." "Really? Where are they?" "Right here. You and Maya." The girls exchanged looks. "We're your daughters?" Maya asked, stunned. "Yes, I'm your dad." Silence fell. Then Sophie slowly walked to me. "Mom, is it true? Is Mr. Christopher our dad?" I lifted her into my arms. "Yes, sunshine. It's true." Why wasn't he here before? The hardest question of my life. "Because Daddy was very foolish," Christopher answered for me, "and very scared. He was afraid to be a dad." "Are you still scared?" Maya asked. "Now I'm only scared of one thing, that you won't want me to be your dad." The girls looked at each other. Then Maya stood and walked to Christopher. "Okay, but you have to learn to braid hair and read stories with scary voices and not be afraid of spiders in the bathroom." Christopher laughed, his first genuine laugh. "Deal, Princess." That evening, after the girls went to bed, Christopher and I talked in the kitchen. "How do we make this work?" he asked. "However I say, you'll follow our schedule." "I get it." "No, you don't," I raised my voice. "They've lived 7 years without a father. They're used to it. But if you become part of their lives and disappear again, I won't disappear." "How do I know that?" "Because I'll give you guarantees." "What guarantees?" He pulled documents from his pocket. "I've signed over half my assets to them. Company shares, real estate, investments. If I vanish, they get it all immediately." I took the papers with trembling hands. The amount was staggering, over $2 million. More than I'd earned in 7 years. "You're insane," I whispered. "This is too much." "It's nothing compared to what I owe them." He shook his head. 7 years of missed time, Amanda. 7 years I can't take back. I set the papers aside. "I don't need your money, Christopher. I need your word that you won't break their hearts." "What if I give you both?" He stood and paced the kitchen. "I'll sell my stake in the company. Transfer to the local branch. Live here close to them." "You'd give up your career for kids you've met once." "I'd give up everything for the kids I lost because of my own stupidity." Something in his voice made me believe him, for the first time in 7 years. "I have conditions," I said. "I'm listening." "First, no gifts without my approval. I don't want you buying their love with fancy toys." "Agreed." "Second, you follow my rules. Bedtimes, meals, homework time. I won't let you disrupt everything." "Of course." "Third, if the girls ever want to stop seeing you, you leave. No drama." He nodded, though I could see it hurt him. "And last," I stepped closer, "no trying to rekindle things with me. We're co-parents, nothing more." "Understood," he said, looking down. "Can I ask one thing?" "What?" Will you ever forgive me? I stared at the man who was once my love, my dream, my hope. The man who destroyed it all with one choice. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe someday, but not now. The first few weeks were strange. Christopher came 3 times a week. Wednesdays after school and weekends, the girls adored him like puppies. He learned to braid hair, badly, read stories with funny voices, hilariously, and even dealt with a bathroom spider with my help. But what surprised me most, he didn't try to buy their love. He brought simple gifts: books, pencils, balloons, played ordinary games, helped with homework. "Mom, why doesn't Daddy live with us?" Sophie asked one day. "Because Mommy and Daddy don't love each other anymore," I explained. "But that doesn't mean we don't love you." "Did you love each other before?" "Very much." "What happened? How do you tell 6-year-olds their father was a coward who chose his career over his family? Sometimes people change, Sunshine. They become different. Has Daddy changed back? Out of the mouths of babes." "I don't know, maybe." A month later, my worst fear came true. Maya got sick. High fever, cough, signs of pneumonia. I rushed her to the hospital at 2 a.m. when my phone rang. "Amanda, what's wrong?" Christopher's voice was panicked. "How do you know something's wrong?" "I have an app that shows you're driving to the hospital at this hour." "What's with the girls?" He'd installed a family tracking app. Without my permission, "Maya's sick, and delete that app now. I'm coming to the hospital." "Christopher, you don't—" He hung up. He beat me to the ER, wearing pajama pants and a jacket thrown over a bare chest, hair wild, face pale with fear. "Where is she? What's wrong?" "Pneumonia," I said, rocking Maya. "Not critical, but she needs to stay." "Where's the doctor?" "Christopher, calm down. It'll be okay." "How are you so calm? Our daughter's sick." "Our daughter." He said, "Our daughter." For the next 3 days, he didn't leave the hospital. Slept in a hallway chair, bought food for the nurses to ensure they checked on Maya, read her stories when my voice gave out. "Daddy," Maya whispered on the 3rd day, "I'm scared." "What are you scared of, princess? Will you leave while I'm sick?" He took her tiny hand in his. "I'm not going anywhere until you're better. And even after, I'll still be here. Promise, promise." In that moment, I knew he'd changed. Truly changed. When Maya was discharged, we walked down the hospital corridor together, looking like a real family. Christopher carried Maya, and I held his arm for support. "Thank you," I said as we reached the car. "For what?" "For not disappearing when things got tough. I promised. Promising is easy, keeping it is harder." He carefully buckled Maya into her car seat and turned to me. "I know I have a lot to prove, Amanda, and I will, however long it takes." At home, Sophie threw herself at Maya, sobbing. "I was so scared you wouldn't come back," she cried. "Silly, I couldn't leave you," Maya hugged her. "We're twins. We're always together." "Always?" "Always." Christopher watched them with a look like he was seeing a miracle. "What are you thinking?" I asked. "That they're incredible, and that you raised them perfectly." "We raised them," I corrected, surprising myself. He looked at me with hope. "We? Well, you've been here 2 months, and you're a good dad." It was my first admission. I could see how much it meant to him. Months passed. Christopher sold his company stake and got a job at the local branch, rented an apartment nearby. He could see the girls every day now. And I started getting used to him. More than that, I started relying on him. He picked the girls up from school when I had late meetings, stayed overnight when I traveled for work. "Mom, can I ask something?" Sophie said one evening as we cooked dinner. "Of course." "Do you love Daddy?" I nearly dropped the knife. "Why do you ask?" "Because you look at him differently now. Not like before. Smart kids, too smart. How do I look at him? Before you looked angry. Now, I don't know, kindly? Kindly, maybe she was right. Grown-up feelings are complicated, Sunshine. If you love Daddy again, will we live together? I don't know, maybe. I want Daddy to live with us. He makes funny pancakes and isn't scared of spiders." That night, after the girls were asleep, Christopher and I had tea in the kitchen. Our new tradition of talking about everything and nothing. Sophie asked if I love you. I said out of the blue. Christopher froze, cup in hand. What did you say? That grown-up feelings are complicated. What do you really think? I thought for a long time. I think hate takes too much energy, and I don't have any to spare. That's not an answer. Christopher, I forgive you for what you did 7 years ago, for the pain you caused, for leaving me to raise the girls alone. Thank you, he breathed. But forgiveness doesn't mean we can go back to what we had. Why not? Because we're different people now. You've changed, I've changed. I don't know if we're compatible anymore. Can we find out? I looked at the man who'd become an amazing father, who'd proven he could be responsible, who'd earned forgiveness. Maybe, I said, but slowly, no guarantees. That's all I need, he said, taking my hand. A chance. A chance. Maybe we all deserve a second chance. A year later, we got married. Quietly, no fuss. Just the girls and my sister Rachel. Christopher moved in, and we finally became a real family. Are we really a family now? Maya asked at the wedding. We've always been a family, Christopher said. Now it's just official. Can we call you Daddy now, not Daddy Christopher? You can call me anything you want, princesses. Sometimes the past catches up with you at the worst moment, but sometimes it leads to the best future you could ever hope for. 5 years later. I'm sitting in the same mall, the same cafeteria, watching Christopher help our 3-year-old son, Daniel, pick out ice cream. Maya and Sophie, now 11, are arguing over which movie we'll watch tonight. What are you thinking about? Christopher asks, sitting beside me with Daniel, who's smeared with chocolate ice cream. How strange life is, I say. 7 years ago, I'd have killed you if you showed up here. And now? Now I'm grateful to fate for that meeting, even with all the pain, especially because of it. The pain made us stronger. It taught us to value what we have, Daniel giggles, smearing ice cream on his face. Maya and Sophie run over, excited and happy. Mom, Dad, guess what? Maya says. We've decided to be doctors, like Dr. Smith, who treated me when I was sick. Both of you? Christopher asks, surprised. We're twins, Sophie explains. We always do everything together. I look at my family and realize sometimes the best gifts come in the most unexpected packages, even if that package feels like a disaster at first. Let's go home, I say, standing. It's family movie night. Yay, the girls cheer. Yay, Daniel echoes. Not quite sure why. Christopher takes my hand and we walk to the exit. A family. A real, strong, happy family. Who would have thought it all started with that awful encounter in a mall? Life is full of surprises.